Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the 15 months, MGR. Hello, hello, hello. There's so many of you already. Jesus. Can I even say hi to everyone? Hi, Tabby. Hi, Ray. Hi, Saf. Hi, Loner. Hi, Lucario. Hi, Kubo. Hi, Seiko. Hi, Fen. Hi, Kush. Hi, Sweet. You. Hi. Oh my, there's so many of you. Hello, hello, hello. Kuro is here too. Hello, Noir. Oh my gosh! Is this video that bad? Alright. Everything I've seen about this video has been against my consent. Oh wait, I need to find it. Where is it? I need to find, fuck. Where is it? Here we go. That's too loud. Alright. Court is going to be in session. Take notes? It's that bad? Saint Hontus level? We're power scaling Genshin critiques now? I'm actually curious for everyone who's here. Let's make a poll real quick. Jello! Hi, Jello. How do I make a poll again? I'm so curious. Have you seen this video yet? Start poll. I'm so curious. Thank you so much, Freaky Bob. You can stop agenda posting about me on Twitter. But yes, this video collectively united the Genshin community. Not only that, this video is so bad they're comparing it to Lily Orchard Steven Universe video. This is the only video on this person's channel 2 weeks ago. Cad, what the hell? Thank you so much for the 10 gifted. This is the only video on this person's channel. An absolute banger, by the way. And they just ghost. And I remember people on Twitter were like, why is there so many Genshin channels? They'll make one Genshin hate video, it blows up, and then they're never seen again. This happened last year with Natlin. It happened right before Nordcry 2. Like, is this not strange? I have seen the tweet. It was from Steamed Bun. I'm not necessarily I don't think they're being paid for it. I feel like that's kind of a reach. But I just feel like it's so interesting. And like, subscribe to hear me like, this is not just a random person, right? They have an entire persona and whatnot. Yet they make one Genshin video and then they don't follow up on it at all. Like, this is a channel defining video. This could have easily been the start to something. I just think it's really odd how they've never followed up on it or anything. I don't know. But no, I'm not buying into the conspiracy that they're being paid by Kuro Games and Tencent. I don't think that's logical either. That's way too conspiracy. But I also just find it interesting. Why? Thank you so much, Flea, for the gifted memberships. Thank you, I appreciate it. But enough stalling. I'm just going to watch the video. Enough stalling. Enough stalling. Enough stalling.
Before we begin,
Alright. Let me...
Please be aware that this video contains very heavy spoilers for Genshin Impact up to version 6.4, also known as...
Is the audio good? Does it sound fine? Watch me think the video is good. Too quiet?
Luna 5,
What
the
about
current
this?
game
Is this
version
fine?
as of recording.
She's
So
as
if you
loud
clicked
as
on the-
me. It's not AI, no. I don't think so. There is no music. Let me be quieter.
This video. Before we begin, please
How's
be
this
aware that
then?
this video
Here's my
contains
speaking
very
voice
heavy
and
spoilers
here's
for
her.
Genshin Impact up to
Is
version
this
6.
fine? Can you turn on subtitles? Perfect, perfect, good. Okay, before we get into this, okay. At the end of the day, it really is just Genshin Impact. It's just her opinion on Genshin Impact. Let's try not to do personal attacks, okay? Despite whatever I may say, let's not make this personal. Let's not send a hate tirade to her comment section. It really is just a Genshin critique. Wallpaper jump scare? Yeah, it's Echidna. How do I shove it? What's wrong with Echidna? We're hating on the goat of ReZero. Anyway, I'm being distracted. We will talk about the video. We will make fun or highlight the points that she makes. We will not personally attack them. It's just a Genshin critique at the end of the day. It's not that deep. Can you wait for 5 minutes? I need to grab a drink. I've heard that the first, like, part of this video, like the first 15 minutes or so, is actually pretty good. Again, all I've seen about this video is what I've heard on Twitter. I've heard the first 15 minutes are good, and then it just falls apart. So even if you dip for 5 minutes, you probably won't be missing anything. Anyways, enough stalling. Let's start the react.
6.4, also known as Luna 5, very heavy. Before we begin, please be aware that this video contains very heavy spoilers for Genshin Impact up to version 6.4, also known as Luna 5, the current game version as of recording. So if you clicked on this video and haven't played up through these quests yet,
Also, this video is an hour long. So if you need to go get some snacks, come back.
you are still interested in doing so, please watch this at your own risk. Also, I would like to say that while I play Genshin frequently, I'm certainly not a lore expert. It's also worth pointing out that Genshin lore only gets more confusing and convoluted as time goes on, so that might factor in
Fair
as well.
enough.
I might get stuff wrong. You can feel free to correct me about anything in the comments, but I will do my best. Let me just start by saying that Genshin Impact is one of my
2 times speed? I don't think she's talking that slowly.
favorite games. I know that there's a lot to be said about Genshin and that Genshin fans are kind of a meme. There's a lot of valid critiques to be thrown Genshin's way. For example, like many gacha games, they use a very predatory business model, and Hoyoverse makes millions of dollars off of FOMO and by fostering people's gambling addictions. And I would argue Genshin is actually worse than a lot of other Hoyo games too, because it's not as generous. From my understanding, other games from this company have made up for a lot of Genshin's greed by giving away more free characters.
I mean, fair enough. Like, she's saying the other games are more generous. I'm not mute, am I? Shush. Yeah, the other games are more generous. Fair enough.
And by making it easier to obtain materials.
ZZZ also has, like, more talents. ZZZ has double the talents Genshin has, and then farming weeklies in ZZZ, the core skills, is horrible.
To level them up. Meanwhile, Genshin
I think all the gachas are kind of equally as bad in farming for characters.
refuses to adapt even after over 5 years of updates. The resin cap is still only at 200 with no resin overflow system, and the weapon and talent ascension materials are still only available for a few days each week.
I also agree this is pointless, but at the same time, at least 2 out of 6 weeks of every version, you can farm any domain.
Which is an outdated system that serves absolutely no purpose.
I do agree it's outdated, though. It just, if we're going to do it for 2 out of 6 weeks, they should just have it all the time. I don't see a reason why it isn't, why you can't just farm everything every day.
But, despite all of those flaws, Genshin kind of stole my heart in the beginning. I had never played a game like this before, meaning a gacha game. I didn't know how the pity system worked. I did a 10 pull whenever I had fates, and I didn't save them at all because I wasn't keeping up with any upcoming banners or anything. And I would spend my Primo Gems equally on both Intertwined and Acquaint Fates because that seemed like a financially responsible thing to do. I shudder to think about it even now. But when I first started back in October of 2020, during Klee's first ever banner, none of that mattered, because Genshin was pretty magical early on. Not only was it special because back then, you really didn't have to worry about power creep, you could pretty much build any—
Wait, why did she just flash Abyss buffs? Oh.
Special because—
Okay, no, actually, no, wait. I do agree here. I actually do completely agree here. I hate that they started adding shield buffs to floor 12. That was stupid. Up until I think around, wasn't it up until Fontaine? Up until Fontaine, floor 12 had like no shield buffs. We just had like the default total Spiral Abyss chamber thingies. Like you get certain buffs for Spiral Abyss as a whole. I really wish they removed the shield buffs on floor 12 specifically. It was kind of nice. That floor 12, it was like, you're not getting any help at all.
Back then, you really didn't have to worry about power creep. You could pretty much build any character you wanted if you liked them. But there was this feeling of newness that came with starting out in 1.0.
I've always kind of been a meta nut, so I don't necessarily agree, but at the start of the game, you really could just throw together random shit and it would clear because the damage ceiling was so low. But meta did exist back then. It's just that, as she said, you never really needed to access it.
Open world was laid out before you with two beautifully designed nations. The
Early. Okay, if she's going. Okay, I'm just putting a pin in this for right now. If she's going to say later that the later regions are bad, but she's praising the region design of Mondstadt and Leeway, which had the most bare bones exploration with the most boring puzzles and the most boring world quests, I might crash out. I do agree, Mondstadt and Leeway were fun, but compared to everything we've got past that, they are just the worst regions to play. And they were the most tedious to traverse.
music was, and still is,
Like the Leeway Mountains meme. No one enjoyed climbing the Leeway Mountains. That was awful.
so gorgeous and immersive.
I do think Inazuma puzzles were good though.
Playing with headphones and just listening to the soundtrack while running around with your favorite characters was so lovely.
Based.
There were little puzzles to solve and stories to tell, all backdropped by a beautiful landscape. The story told by the Archon quests was relatively simple, but the characters were interesting and so lovable that they gave the quests life in their own way.
Again, I'm not saying anything yet. I'm just putting a pin in this for later, in case she says anything about my goat Natlan.
And then there were events like the first Lantern Rite and the first Wind Bloom. Don't get
These events were horrible. Wait, these events were notoriously terrible. Even back then, people were complaining about them. The early events were horrible. There was an entire stretch of Lantern Rite that was just multiple different small fetch quests. And the Wind Bloom was so mocked when it came out. It was called a filler event. Really? Hi Delta. But no, these events were like bad.
me wrong. I think there have been some really good Lantern Rites in recent years. The one featuring I think there have been some really good Lantern Rites in recent years. The one featuring Gaming comes to mind. But I really don't think that the sheer innocent joy that came with these events early on will ever be matched in the future. And plus, I think that Genshin has kind of forgotten about Wind Bloom. But like,
She didn't even elaborate though. What about the earlier Lantern Rite made it so much better than the future ones? I think the second Lantern Rite was like at least my favorite story-wise. But what about it specifically did you enjoy that the later ones didn't have?
cuts innocent. The one
Am I
featuring
crazy?
me wrong. I think there have been some really good Lantern Rites in recent
She said the earlier events were good. I think the later ones were okay too.
years. The one feature
Let's not elaborate.
comes to mind, but I really don't think that the sheer innocent joy that came with these events early on will ever be matched in the future.
But why?
And plus, I think that Genshin has kind of forgotten about Wind Bloom. But like, the cutscenes were so beautiful, getting to see what
The cutscenes have only gotten better looking.
all of these characters in Liyue and Mondstadt were up to during these times of year.
That still happened. What do you mean? This still happened. We even now have the Traveler Tales that lets you check in on these characters almost daily. In fact, no, daily.
I mean, that cutscene of all the characters walking around Mondstadt together spawned so much shipping, and I was absolutely there for it, just like everybody else was. Following this, we had Inazuma, Sumeru, and Fontaine, again, all beautiful nations with so much potential for exploration. They encouraged you to look in every nook and cranny. There's so much lore to be found that you might never see it all unless you peruse the Genshin wiki. One of my favorite examples of all of the records.
Is she saying this doesn't happen later on? I'm confused. Also, Sumeru's exploration was kind of nah. Like, so you didn't really explore in Sumeru, you were just following the world quests. Like, most of the exploration in Sumeru was just locked behind the world quests. You didn't really have to go exploring that much. She didn't mention Natlan Gulp exactly. 55-minute video, I'm out.
Records and notes you can find are about Ildodore, and they're scattered throughout Sumeru, just discovering how immensely evil he was.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Pre-map Sumeru was horrible. And again, this feels so weird because as someone who did play back then, no one liked the desert. Very few people liked the desert. I'm not going to say no one, but very few people liked the desert.
Made me so excited to see what they would do with a villain like that in this story. And we will get to that. But even if the story occasionally got dull, and I know a lot of people struggled with Inazuma.
Occasionally? Thank you so much for the 15 months, Momoka.
Believe me, I have problems with it too. I know I could always count on seeing a character I liked. When Inazuma was boring me to death in the middle, or when it was busy underdeveloping Raiden A, I could at least maybe see Kazuha sometimes, who is still one of my favorite characters in the game.
He had He had 5 appearances in this quest. Ignored? Riot explored Sumeru for you. What are you told? I still explored most of Sumeru, shush. And I stopped exploring it because I found it boring.
To this day. A gacha game relies on its characters like almost no other type of game does. If you want people to pull for them, they have to appeal. And most of them did.
Thank you for the 19 months delta. No, England didn't cheat.
They had beautiful designs.
And England is winning the World Cup.
And interesting personalities that
Wait, sorry, I missed that.
Like almost no other type of game does. If you want people to pull for them, they have to appeal. And most of them did. They had beautiful designs and interesting personalities that sealed the deal. So yes, Genshin.
I'm putting a pin in this. She showed no designs past Natlan. I saw 2 Fontanians and Yaimiko. Right.
Is one of my favorite games. But I'm also its biggest hater. And I know what you're gonna say.
Fair
You're
enough.
just nostalgic. That's the only reason you think it was better back then. But I have proof. I mean, why else would I make a whole video essay on an unestablished YouTube channel if I didn't have proof? So, was Genshin always this weird and bad? No, it wasn't. And let me tell you why. So,
oh my god, no. We're not doing this. Are we doing this? This early? Oh my god. It's actually the meme. Everything before Natlan, peak Genshin, beautiful. Everything post Natlan, no, in fact, not everything post Natlan. Natlan specifically, absolute dog shit. Okay, you want...
talk about bad Genshin, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, Natlan.
I don't want to watch. I cannot stand. If I hear another Natlan hate video with the same exact talking points, I'm going to blow my brains out. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
In case you're unfamiliar, Genshin bases its nations on real-world cultures, in terms of visual inspiration, the names of the characters, and the nation's customs. Mondstadt is based largely on Germany, Liyue on China, Inazuma on Japan, and so on. Natlan, similarly to Sumeru, is based on multiple real-world cultures, including Mesoamerican societies, Polynesian cultures, and the cultures of African peoples. It's hard to pin down what they were thinking when they picked out all of these places, each so different to represent just one nation in the game. I'm certainly not the person to listen to on if this is bad representation, but I will say I do find it odd that the regions based on parts of the world where historically many black and brown people have lived are a mishmash of many different cultures, and that the characters are whitewashed versions of these people. It just gives me pause, to say the least. For many other reasons.
I'm debating whether or not I want to talk about. I'm debating it. First time chat has been supportive of Flip. You know what? You might get canceled. At least for me, right? With both Sumeru and Notlid, I wish the skin colors were more diverse. I've always stood on this. I wish they did make more. Thank you so much. Do you deserve this many viewers? Why are you hating? I wish they did make the skin colors more diverse, and I will always stand with people that advocate for them to do so. It's just to a. I've kind of given up with Hoyoverse in that I don't think I'm ever going to get diverse skin colors in this game. And I feel like as minorities and POCs, we should stop relying on. We have to stop relying on ethnicities that aren't our own to actually portray our cultures and our phenotypes. Not even people in Western countries get it right. So I'm not necessarily looking for a West Asian country to portray my skin color accurately or our cultures, which is unfortunate and it's sad, but it is kind of just what it is. Sorry, not East Asian, yes. My bad. I'm Nigerian, I'm black. I'm black British. As unfortunate as it is, I just sadly think it's never happening. But at the same time, I will stand with you in advocating for it. While your culture is eating beans and saying that it tastes good, beans do taste good. But yeah. Also, I didn't even think she's right about Auroron.
And that the characters are whitewashed versions of.
I don't think Auroron's based on a Nigerian deity. This isn't correct, is it? He isn't.
These people.
Wait.
Cultures. And that.
Why is Candace here? Isn't Candace a part of the regions that she likes? Wait, we're shitting on Natlin, aren't we?
The characters are whitewashed versions of these people. It just gives me pause, to say the least. For many other reasons too, Natlan was understandably poorly received by fans, at least in the United States. I'm not really sure how other parts of the world reacted to it.
I'm probably gonna make this a video and edit it if I'm motivated enough.
It's easy to see why though, because it's the same reasons that I didn't like Natlan. The landscapes are fine, but aesthetically, a lot of Natlan doesn't mesh well with existing aesthetics of the game.
I'm gonna kill myself. Oh! Is she gonna complain about the thing that's explained in game with Dragon Tech? Is she gonna do it? Can I skip this? Oh.
One of the major problems people had was the character's access to modern technology and concepts
Is Natlan technology even that modern? Is it even that modern? Sumeru has Wi-Fi. We have had robots since the beginning of the game. The Fatui have guns. Like British rifles.
like motorcycles, flying guns, rollerblades, and DJ sets. I'm not even
Like does this look like a modern motorcycle to you?
Flying guns, rollerblades, and DJ
Does
sets.
this look like a modern DJ set to you?
I'm not even necessarily mad at
It's stylized around
the idea of having more modern tech in Natlan, but the problems lie more in the execution. First, Natlan made a point to set up an aesthetic style for Natlanese technology, like that within the
Again, how does this is built with the same structure that Malvika's motorcycle is. Okay, wait. Malvika. Where is it? I found an image of this. Okay, wait. If you were to decolor Malvika's motorcycle, it looks like Dragon Tech. Because it is Dragon Tech. It's just stylized for Malvika specifically. Malvika's bike does look like Secret Source Automaton Tech. And the Ancient Dragon Tech. It's just colored. It matches perfectly with what they've set up.
the ancient Sacred Mountain area, but then they only used it in that area. If Malvika's motorcycle or Shilonen's DJ set looked anything like this, and not like sleek modern variations
It doesn't, though. It doesn't.
of those objects, maybe they wouldn't have felt so out of place. And another problem with the tech is that no one
This was explained in Chaska's Quest.
else in Natlan, other than the playable characters, use it at all.
First of all, the playable characters being special should be normal for gacha games. You said characters are important, and the characters standing out from the NPCs, for one, makes sense because they want to sell the characters and make the characters look interesting. In Chaska's Quest, it was explained that what the tech that the Natlan heroes use, it's phlogiston based. Not everyone is able to manipulate phlogiston, for one, and also using phlogiston hurts the Saurians. So if everyone were running around with Malvika's motorcycle, that would impact the Saurians, which they don't want to do. Which is why only people that can manipulate phlogiston, as well as specific people in Natlan, are able to use the dragon tech. This has been explained pretty perfectly, I think. I don't see why it's such a big deal. Like, you're telling me the playable characters aren't like the NPCs? Did you guys know that the NPCs in Mondstadt don't have visions? What? How dare they? This doesn't make sense. Why doesn't everyone in Mondstadt have a vision so they're like the playable characters?
You don't see any other Natlanese people rollerblading or driving vehicles. They probably wouldn't feel so out of place if other people in the 6 tribes had access to this stuff. There is perhaps no location in Natlan that is so out of place as the Easy Breeze Holiday Resort. I did love the lore that this location provided for Bennett, but everything else about it is so ass, dude. It genuinely feels like a different game to walk around this resort. There's a huge slide in the shape of a Kaholosaurus, a dark ride a la Disneyland, a field that looks like a fucking Wii Sports golf course.
What? What? This is I don't know if anyone else is British here, but this is like complaining that Thorpe Park or Legoland looks different to the other places in England. What?
Course, and like a music festival area with a dance off stage.
Why? What? What's this complaint? It's a
I
resort.
cannot stress enough how immersion breaking it is to
How
explore
is
this
this everything you've seen in Genshin and this is immersion breaking to you?
area. Have there been silly summer themed areas in the past? Yes. But none of them have ever had an aesthetic on par with this one.
What do you mean? Well, this doesn't feel out of place to you? But the Nalan resort that is designed to look like a tropical resort in the tropical region is that's too much of a leap in logic for you?
Past? Yes. But none of them have ever had an aesthetic on par with this one. I mean, the Golden Apple Archipelago just looks like it was taken straight out of Mondstadt or
No, Mondstadt doesn't have trees like this. Mondstadt looks nothing like this. What are we doing?
it in terms of design, while still looking very fantastical, with
but the resort is?
impossible landscapes that could only be created.
Stop showing examples, please. It's making your case worse. Please stop showing examples. This isn't out of place to you? This makes logically more sense than the tropical resort?
Created by a mage of incredible power like Alice. Unfortunately, the visual aspects aren't Natlan's
Why doesn't Disney World look like the rest of Florida?
only faults. I and many others also found the lore and quest of this region to be pretty lacking too.
Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
We'll start with the basics. Each nation in Tivat has a divine ideal that is represented.
Is she gonna say that Malvika and Natlan doesn't seem like the nation of war, despite the fact that they're locked into an internal war with the Abyss that Malvika had to fight against? Is this what we're going to go through? Once that represents freedom, leeway, what contracts, which is such a broad term, by the way. Raiden was eternity because she locked herself in her plane of euthymia, and the region was like locked in its, I got it.
By the Archon. So far, we've been introduced to 6 ideals of 7: freedom,
Hi, Rhea.
contracts, eternity, wisdom, justice, and war. Most of these, at least to me, represent a good idea of what a divine ideal should be, something that a god is supposed to
The divine ideal of contracts.
uphold in their nation. Sometimes upholding the ideal leads to conflict in the region. For example, in her upholding of eternity, Raiden Shogun sealed her borders and stole the ability to use elemental magic from her people, all for the sake of keeping Inazuma the same for all time. At the same time, Raiden herself represents
Thank you for the membership, Uta.
the concept of eternity. She locks herself away to practice hundreds of years of meditation and uses undying puppets of herself to exact her will on the people of her nation. It's honestly very upsetting the way that they rushed through her arc so much, because I think she would have made for such a compelling character otherwise. Of herself to exact her will on the people of her nation. It's honestly very upsetting the way that they rushed through her arc so much, because I think she would have made for such a compelling character otherwise. Now think about Mawika in the same way, with regards to her divine ideal, which is war. How does she represent war? Well, she's fighting a war against
Okay, I also find it interesting how she's willing to give Raiden a pass, who had one of like the worst arcs in the main arc conquest. Yet she isn't. I'm going to bet she's going to be extremely harsh on Natlin and not give it any passes or exceptions. She literally said Inazuma is the potential good arc conquest, but she isn't going to give that same grace to Natlin, is she? She's going to call Natlin horrible, the story quest is bad, and therefore the whole region is bad.
the Abyss, like everybody else in Tibet. Yeah, maybe they have it worse than other nations, but still, what happens when the war ends? Which it does at the end of the arc.
Is Inazuma still locked under the is Inazuma still locked? What was it called? Like the Vision Hunt Decree? Is Raiden still in her eternal meditation? The entire point of the arc conquest is to go and explore the divine ideals and see if they're upheld or not.
Conquest.
Like, did she actually want Movika to just never result the eternal war in Natlin?
It's not like Mawika is some battle-crazed maniac. At most, of the Archon quest. It's not like Mawika is some
Is that the only way to represent war?
battle-crazed maniac. At most, she's just kind of thoughtless and reckless in her actions. Do you see how war doesn't really work as a divine ideal, and least of all with Mawika as its representative? Also, it's a nation of war made up of 6 different factions, and yet there's absolutely no conflict between them. It really just doesn't make any sense. This is why I personally always thought it would be cool if the Pyro Archon was a villain to her people. Maybe she makes them fight each other gladiator style for her own entertainment, and then maybe we would have a better rebellion storyline than Inazuma.
What? Wait, what? Thank you for the 10 months, Blue. Oh, wait, I'm so confused. Wait, I'm not muted. How is this a criticism of what Natlin was? You're just saying you had this certain expectation for it, and you didn't get the desired outcome, and you're what? How this is Wait, I'm so confused. How is this a critique? This is just saying what you wanted for the region. What?
Side of the Pyro. It made up of 6 different factions, and yet there's absolutely no conflict between them. It really just doesn't.
But what about what actually happened in Natlin and their eternal war with the Abyss? What about discussing that and why you didn't like that? You never explained why you didn't like this. You just said you thought this would be better.
Make any sense.
I really wish this cheese pizza tasted like a meat feast pizza. I'm not going to talk about what I feel about the cheese pizza, but this meat feast pizza would have been so much better.
This is why I personally always thought it would be cool if the Pyro Archon was a villain to her people. Maybe she makes them fight each other gladiator style for her own entertainment, and then maybe we would have a better rebellion storyline than Inazuma with an Archon that's completely irredeemable. Because we certainly know that the Cryo Archon is gonna get redeemed in some way if she's ever going to become playable. We will also touch on that in a later section in more detail. Instead, in Mawika, we have an Archon who is a Mary Sue.
I'll let her
Ironic
finish.
when she's the only Archon who is actually a human and would.
That's the point. First of all, she talked about Movika's flaws earlier and her recklessness. Second, Movika is putting on a facade that everything's okay and that she's perfect. And her being a human gives more weight to that because she almost has to prove herself more because she's a human. If Movika weren't seen as the pinnacle of power in her nation is fighting an eternal war with the Abyss. If she wasn't held to that standard, then why would any of the people fighting in the war have confidence for her? Why would they support someone or have confidence that they can fight if their own Archon, who's supposed to be the most powerful person in their region, can't fight? And the fact that Movika is a human that's being held to this standard is kind of like it,
would likely have the most flaws out of any of them. The thing is, Mawika is very flawed. She is extremely
then how is she a Mary Sue? Did you? Okay.
irresponsible and brash, even when it will put the lives of her entire nation at stake. Her nation is at war with the Abyss, and she's like, well, best thing I can do for you guys now is go to sleep for 500 years and hope and pray that the heroes I need will appear to me when I need them. What? That is crazy.
Wait, why did she feel so heavily the need to call her a Mary Sue when she already highlighted her flaws before and then highlighted her flaws right after saying she was a Mary Sue?
Of you, and yet the game tries
You just wanted to call her a Mary Sue.
to make me feel bad for her for doing this.
The story tried to make me feel things.
Game, instead of pointing out how terrible and risky this plan is,
What does she think Capitano's role in the Natlan quest was? What did she think Capitano and Auroron's purpose in the Archon quest was? They were pointing out how risky her plan was and giving her another safer solution that would have caused the history of Natlan to be wiped out. That was the point of Capitano and Auroron's purpose in the quest. They called this out. I agree. Okay, you want?
just focuses on the fact that Mawika had to say goodbye to her family in order to put this plan into action. Dog, I do not care.
Then the character just didn't resonate with you. You just explained what they were trying to do with their story.
The writing doesn't focus at all on what's important here. It just makes her out to be the perfect Archon who's good at everything and refuses to fail. There were no memorable parts of that quest for me, except for maybe the final battle. And it's not even like the characters here can make up for this nation's incredibly boring and stupid story. For me, all of them were so nothing. It boggles my mind that so many of y'all are shipping these MFs together when they barely have interesting relationships with each other at all.
Is she? Oh god. Is she talking about within the Archon quest specifically or the region as a whole? Because, like, if you played the events or some of the quests, I don't know how you can have this take. Like, Kinich, Mualani, and Kachina's relationship is established at the very beginning. Most of the heroes were willing to die to save Kachina. There's Auroron and Sitlali's relationship. There's the kind of mentorship Kinich has with Movika. And if we're looking outside the quest, even Movika's relationship with Shalonen, I feel like there was a lot of characters and they had intimate moments with each other. Yeah, Chaska and her sister too, but I don't know. Like, especially if you did play the events where they established their dynamics more. I don't know how you can have this take.
I feel like all of their personalities could be explained in one word. Mulan is bubbly. Kenny
Well, I feel like first of all, you can do this with every Genshin character in the entire game. You can dumb them down to one word. You can dumb pretty much the entire Genshin cast down into one word. Like Genshin flanderizes its characters so much even. Ito is the beetle guy. Most characters in Genshin have one gimmick or joke that they just repeat over and over whenever they're seen in quests. I feel like you can do this with every character in Genshin. And even then, this is just a personal thing. I've always disliked how everyone talks about Mualani like she's just this bubbly, cheerful girl. When she was like going through it in the first few Archon quests, there was nothing to smile about with her. Mualani was so serious. But no, like I do agree there is flanderization in Genshin, but this isn't a Natlan specific critique. And also, yes, guys, no, again, as I said at the start, no personal attacks, please. It's just a Genshin opinion.
Peach is standoffish. Kachina is insecure. Verisa,
She overcut. Ressa wasn't even in the Archon quest. Kachina overcoming her insecurity is like one of the most blatant character arcs in the quest.
It's a lot. Oh, and Mawika. What can be said that I haven't already touched on? She's good at everything. She's the perfect Archon, and
You just said she. You talked about her flaws before, though. Uh, is she gonna talk about Veressa again? Because I also don't like the way she talked about Veressa. If you played Veressa's Tribal Chronicle, like there's more to her than just eating. I don't know. Veressa's Tribal Chronicle was really touching to me, actually. It's very sweet. She has this hero that she looks up to, and she wants to be able to fight as good as the heroes that she looks up to, but she doesn't really believe in herself. If anyone's insecure, it's Veressa, not Kachina, really. And that's why she trained so hard in the first place. And despite the fact that she likes to eat and do what she loves to eat and whatnot, despite that, and people thinking that's unfit for a warrior, she still is very strong and capable. She just needed the push to believe in herself.
even her reckless plan for saving her nation isn't questioned by anyone that matters.
Capitano doesn't matter, I guess.
Or treated by the game as risky at all. Even though it is. And in the end, she just defeats the Abyss with the power of friendship. It reminds me of that TikTok where they had the
Genshin GPT. Make me a Genshin critique that will get me posted on TikTok.
cutscene with all the heroes side by side with the clip from My Little Pony Equestria Girls. The writers go out of their
Also, isn't this the exact same thing that happened in Liyue? What even happened? What did the side characters do that contribute to the defeating of the Narwhal and Fontaine? Neuvillette just soloed it, practically, and then Skirk cleaned it up.
way to make Mawika seem like the coolest person ever, when in reality she has like
Malvika is the coolest person ever. That's my goat.
no personality. Like, can we talk about how her trailer was just this cringe ass music video where all of the nation heroes are playing instruments in a band? Oh my god. It's like
I'm probably gonna be hated for this, but it was kind of corny. Monica's trailer was kind of corny. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was kind of corny. It's like okay, especially coming off the back of Nahida and Furina's trailers, which I thought were amazing. I did think Malvika's was trailer was not that good.
Literally unbearable to watch. And it's not like any of the other characters do anything to move the plot
I'm
forward.
so sorry.
This region doesn't even know.
Wait, what?
And it's not like any of the other characters do anything to move the plot forward. This
Sitlali and everything that happened with Sitlali and Auroron and Capitano just doesn't exist. Shalonin forging an ancient name for the Traveler, I guess that didn't happen. The tournament that was the first arc and introduction to Natlin just didn't happen. Kachina getting captured didn't happen, which pushed everyone else to act. I get, wow, none of this just happened. It's crazy.
This region doesn't even know how to treat its lore-relevant characters as such. Auroron and Eon-san are the Natlan heroes from the Masters of the Nightwind and the Collective of Plenty, respectively, but I guess they're not important enough to be the focuses of the trial.
Auroron's story quest happened in the Natlin Orcon quest. I do agree with Eonson though. Eonson was sidelined, but Auroron story quest was in the Natlin quest. They explained his backstory, established his relationships with Capitano and Sitlali. Like, he was a main focus for a good part of the Natlin quest. I don't get this.
Chronicles. Instead, those honors are given to Sitlali and Varesa, the latter of which we hadn't even met during the Natlan arc.
That's my goat though. So Varesa's my goat though, so relax.
Conquest. She was literally invented just to take Eon-san's place. I wonder why that is. In any case, most of the important actions are driven by Malvika and the Traveler. So...
Wait, you're telling me the protagonist of this story drives the story? Wait, yo. Did you guys know the Traveler was also crucial in every other Orcon quest before? Did you guys know that the Traveler and the Orcon in the Orcon quest drives the Orcon quest? Isn't that crazy? The Orcon is the main focus of the Orcon quests? What?
None of these characters feel important at all. They're just accessories to, again, the power of friendship storyline. But like I said, that obviously doesn't work unless these characters feel like they have meaningful relationships with each other, which they don't. Needless to say, I did not pull for any of the Natlan characters, even though they're combat mechanics are in the meta, right behind lunar reactions. The only one I really wanted, and only just recently got on Inefa's rerun, was the 4-star character Aoife, and that's mostly because he's a gorgeous cowboy. On the topic of Natlan characters being in the meta, Natlan is also when the shill started getting really bad. Soon enough, the Abyss and other endgame modes...
People still care about this event? The Traveler was crucial to Fontaine. They're the whole reason the plan with Furina succeeded and exposing her. They also fought against Furina in the beginning of the AQ too. And they're the ones that assisted and helped Navia. The Traveler was very important to Fontaine.
So were tailor-made for Night Soul mechanics, with some bosses that are nearly impossible to beat with.
I mean, fair enough, I guess. I thought she was gonna bring up, well, you're given 2 free Natlan characters. But like, fair enough, I guess. I don't know why she listed a weekly boss though. You can co-op these. You're given Kachina and Pyro MC. I don't know.
About Natlan characters in the team just started a trend that only gets worse with time, one that leads us directly into...
Yo, who lied to me? People said the first part of this video was amazing.
It's hard to forget how hyped people were when the first trailer for the new area of Teyvat, Nordkrai, was released. Nordkrai is a subnation of Snezhnaya, the last of the 7 nations we were supposed to visit in our search for our lost twin, so naturally the lore is getting pretty intense here. But the reaction to seeing so many lore-relevant characters in one trailer was immense. We got first glimpses of 2 members of the Hexen Circle, Alice and Nicole, the Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius, Varka, who we'd only heard about in passing until this point, and 2 Fatui Harbingers that hadn't appeared on screen before, Sandrone and Columbina. Every look we got was very fleeting, and it was hard to glean any info from this trailer alone, but people were still so excited. Imagine what Nordkrai has in store if there's so many important characters here, ones that we've only heard whispers about prior. Well, Nordkrai is better than Natlan by a long shot, but...
Gonna cry, dude. Okay.
Would you hate me if I said that this also disappointed me? Don't get me wrong, Nordkrai in a lot of ways was kind of a positive return to form for Genshin. First of all, these characters actually feel like they know each other past "Tee, we're all best buddies." Aino and Anefa are so sweet. Varka and Flint.
Okay, this is gonna upset me so much because I agree. I love the relationships in Nordkrai too. But she's using it as means to show on Natlan.
Are hilarious together, and Nefer and Lauma have some of the craziest Yuri subtext since Beidou and Ningguang. These characters feel more real as a result of their relationships with each other. I could enumerate more about them based on how they interact with others. Crazy, right? It made for a more interesting quest too, one that I could more easily become invested in. Nordkrai did a lot of stuff right, but the true problem with the region unfortunately falls on the back of one character for me.
Dottore? I think Dottore was kind of mishandled in Nordkrai, if she's going to talk about Dottore.
One that was so highly anticipated, not just by me, but by so many people in this fandom, but she delivered so little.
Oh, it's Columbina.
Columbina.
Is she gonna bring up biblically accurate Columbina? Is she gonna bring biblically accurate Columbina? Is she gonna... Wait. Should I make a bingo sheet? She's gonna bring up... Actually, there are some fair criticisms you can make about Columbina and Sandrone and Orlikino. I wonder if she's gonna give the ones I'm thinking of, or it's going to be the popular, not real ones I've heard. Okay.
I know, there's a lot of Columbina lovers out there, but I'm sorry. There are so many reasons I cannot stand this woman, and part of it is because she's a complete disappointment. You might be familiar with the way that people
Deadass. However, that person who made the Hoyer Fair edit with Columbina as a seraphim, Hoyoverse needs to do the magic they did to Home DG Cat and just get them eliminated. I wonder if that's like one of Hoyoverse's biggest regrets. They should actually just skin that person alive.
people thought Columbina was going to be a creepy character, maybe leaning into the biblically accurate angel aesthetic. There was a super popular theory that Columbina was a member of the canonical angel race, so this would make sense in a way. This creepy aesthetic for Columbina was also explored in a beautiful animation for Hoyo Fair called Stairway to Heaven by Kieru. The imagery is so spooky and it uses like analog horror elements. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it after this. Oh.
Yo, why isn't this how the
How
Natlin
dare you
Quest
set foot on
concluded?
these grounds?
This place is
Yo,
any who can claim victory.
yo. Why isn't this how they ended the Natlin Quest? Where's Capitano throwing it back? Why did they not end the Natlin Quest like this? Where is Capitano shaking his ass in 4K 60 frames per second? This is how I needed the Natlin Quest to end. That's my Go Hoyo fare. Always lore accurate. Why was Movwika not turned up like this? Where is the lore accuracy? Why did they destroy our expectations? Look at this. How dare Hoyoverse? How dare they?
Oh my god, it's amazing. And this assumption that Columbina would be scary was not for nothing. People are always like, you just had an image in your head of what you wanted Columbina to be, and now you're disappointed that it didn't happen. And even if that is partially why people are disappointed, there is still in-game evidence and evidence in lore-relevant YouTube videos to support what people thought about her. Let's go over some, shall we? 1.
Yo, Tartaglia, I'm so sorry for what they're about to do to you.
Columbina's appearance. Let's go over what we knew she looked like from our first look at her.
You mean her wearing her Harbinger coat?
The Winter Nights Lotso trailer. First, she has black and dark pink hair. Colors that do not suggest something delicate or gentle.
What? Wait, what? Wait, that's not this was good. Wait, why doesn't she have a problem with Raiden then? Raiden has quite dark colors too, and Raiden was I was a sweetheart. Wait, what?
However, these dark colors are paired with Columbina's winged headdress, made of white feathers like dove wings. Not only
If you have black hair, you're a demon.
does this mirror her name, Columbina, which means little dove, it also bears the appearance of a seraph, a type of angel in Christian theology. Seraphs typically have 3 pairs of wings and have the role of singing the praises of their god. Considering Columbina was a Fatui harbinger, maybe the praises that she was singing were for the Tsaritsa. Columbina is also clearly wearing a black and pink outfit under her Fatui coat.
I never even noticed that, actually. Wow.
Something that they very evidently dropped in her final design.
But like none of the Fatui in this trailers that are playable have these designs. Is that her? That doesn't look like her hair though, compared to what the rest of her hair looks like. That does look very off. It does kind of look like close textures. But even if that were the case, none of the Fatui that were wearing what they are here, this wasn't any of their final designs.
Finally, Columbina has her eyes covered, suggesting maybe an unfeeling or uncaring personality.
She still has her eyes covered.
Or maybe some mysterious. Suggesting maybe an unfeeling or uncaring personality.
She still kind of had that though.
or maybe some mysterious power that lies behind her eyes.
And she, well, not behind her eyes, but she does have a mysterious power too.
2. Columbina's actions. In the trailer, she is singing a soft lullaby, smiling gently while laying along the coffin of her recently deceased fellow Harbinger. I don't care what anyone says, that's creepy.
No one's denying that.
It shows that she kind of has this detached attitude regarding death, especially of her own colleague. 3. What other characters say about her.
I'm so sorry, Tartaglia. Tartaglia, I'm so sorry.
Child's voice line about his fellow Harbinger points the most to a scary character in Columbina.
The Fatui Harbingers are ranked by strength, and I have no idea why that girl is number 3.
Tartaglia,
I'd test my skills with every Harbinger who ranks above me if I had the chance. But when it comes to her, something just doesn't feel...
Okay, I do think to a certain extent that the direction they had for Columbina and Sandrone wasn't, like, the direction they had for her in this earlier on probably changed, but I don't really think this evidence in particular necessarily contradicts it. I think there are other things you can point to, rather than, even, I think Scaramouche's voice line is worse. This in particular doesn't necessarily go against it, but even something like Scaramouche's, I think, is more, like, a more compelling argument. Let's see if she brings it up.
right. Anyway, you should be careful around her.
Even Child sounded scared to challenge her to a battle, and he loves fighting with strong opponents. Scaramouche also suggests
that's
staying
fair,
away
then.
from her and implies that she is not as innocent as she seems.
Let me ask, what should you do if you were to encounter a damsel who is oblivious and innocent at any given time, and unconcerned and unfeeling in any given situation? If it were me, I could at least challenge her to a fight. But if it were you, with your conscience...
Eh, I I guess it doesn't contradict anything. Well, okay, wait. This is kind of messy because, like, I do think Sandrone's, what we had recently was, I don't know if she's taking this into consideration, but what we had with Sandrone, um, the Tea Party thing, that does kind of contradict this at least. Like, maybe you have to take. It's hard to put into but like Columbina does care about things. She does care about her fellow harbingers, but I guess maybe to Wanderer and Tartaglia, they aren't really able to see that. But I don't. I think. I do think the writing of Sandrone and Columbina gets weird later. She cared about the girl, she didn't care about the man. Mm. But I do have my own criticisms about Columbina and Sandrone. But again, I'm trying to think if this would be good. This would be the evidence I would use to support it. And I don't necessarily think this is it.
I would stay
I
away
don't
from
know.
her.
The way that I've seen people defend this is by saying that Child and Scaramouche are bad at reading people, and they didn't know her that
Well,
well,
that's not
so
true.
of course their assumption would be wrong. They just knew that she was powerful. Dude, you are not getting at the reason why these voice lines are put in the game. Yes, they are useful for showing the relationships between characters and what characters think about each other, but they should also be used to provide hints and information about characters that we haven't met yet. If you put in a voice line about Columbina not being what she seems, then people are going to listen to that and assume that she's not what she seems, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, wait, there is that voice line. Wait, where was it? Fuck, I forgot. Was it Arlecchino that had it? But there was a voice line that one of the Harbingers just didn't care about. Signora wasn't there. That's what I would have used for this. I do find, like, in the future, like, the relationship they tried to pretend the other Harbingers had with Signora, like, all four of the girls, I thought that was kind of weird, and that felt off to me. But she isn't using that as the evidence for this, which I find strange. Yeah, Arlecchino said she doesn't care about Sandrone. That evidently isn't really true. So yeah, I don't know. I do agree that the relationship they wanted the female harbingers to have later was definitely not what they originally intended, I think.
I think people just aren't willing to admit that Genshin has bad and inconsistent writing sometimes. Fourth, her rank. Columbina was long known to be the third Harbinger. It's also
Why her rank, though? Columbina is powerful.
been known for a long time that the closer they are to number 1 in the rankings, the more powerful they are. Columbina being number 3, especially right below Dottore, who is notably unhinged and evil, suggests that she is not only similarly powerful, but also similarly devoted to her work as part of a major villain faction. I cannot stress this enough.
The Fitsui Harbingers are, like, kind of the most fraudulent group in recent history. Yeah, the Harbingers are all kind of frauds, but
Clearly, there is a wealth of evidence to support the theories that people had about Columbina.
I don't really think she gave good evidence for that, though.
I'm tired of people pretending that it wasn't there, and I'm tired of people pretending that it wouldn't have worked tonally.
Ignoring what she said, I do agree. They, like, as much as we make fun of the Columbina Seraphim stuff, like, Hoyoverse did kind of play into it a bit, I guess. But just because that was your expectation for it, what they delivered in the actual story, you can't just critique what they didn't do. You kind of have to critique what they did do. So, just because that was your expectation of what it was, I don't think that means the actual product was bad. Like, I have a lot of different expectations for a lot of different characters that are released. Like Inefa, for example, I thought I really wouldn't like Inefa. I ended up loving Inefa and what they did with her story. But, I don't know.
There is literally a villain who does human
And even Kapitana too, right? Like, was Kapitana's ending what people expected? Not really, but I feel like a lot of Kapitana fans did like his ending anyways.
experimentation. There was literally a genocide in Conria. But no. Instead, we learn that Columbina is actually a moon goddess. Okay, sure. But also, she's actually just a damsel in distress, like her name suggests. She's timid and soft-spoken and gentle, and she's shy at first, but eventually opens up to you, and you are the most special person in her life, even though you've known her for maybe 2 weeks.
That's not really true, though. Yes, I was gonna say Sandrone is, like, right there. Like, she cared about Sandrone, she cared about Arlecchino. I don't think we were the most special person to her.
I cannot stand how willfully obtuse people will be about Columbina, pretending not to see the fan service that is sitting right in front of them. She hides behind the Traveler when she doesn't know how to talk to people. Aww.
That wasn't because she didn't know how to talk to people. That was simply just because she didn't want to be exposed as the moon goddess. Because every time people found out she was the moon goddess, she was exploited for that. That's not necessarily fan service. And also, like, even if it was, like, a character being fan service isn't new to Genshin necessarily.
Aww. She likes to eat snacks. Aww.
What the fuck? Girls can't eat? How is eating fan service? Isn't she a child
She
here
doesn't know how to
too?
talk to people. Aww. She likes to eat snacks.
Isn't she a kid here?
Aww. You get
Okay, this. Okay. Low key, this scene was kind of crazy. Okay, wait. Wait, low key. This scene was kind of crazy. I don't really think this can be defended. This scene in particular is kind of crazy. I don't think you can defend. This was weird. I felt uncomfortable watching this.
to feed her during moon prayer night while the English VA is moaning into the mic every 2 seconds. Aww. She's so weak. She can't do anything by herself and probably would have.
She was dying. What do you mean she was dying? And also, I feel like they could show Columbina's strength a lot. She saved the Traveler and everyone else many times. She teleported them out of dangerous situations. She was contending with Revere for a good amount of time too.
Died if the Traveler hadn't rescued her. Aww. People like to pretend that it's somehow misogynistic to point this out. Again, purposefully ignoring that Hoyo is writing her this way intentionally. Guys, I kid you not, she literally turns invisible for a significant portion of the Archon quest.
What's wrong with that? Wait, how is that misogynistic? This is just a plot point in the Archon quest. The fact that she's invisible? Or, like, if we want to talk about characters that didn't have agency in their own Archon quests, is no one gonna discuss Fiorina, which she said was amazing? Like, she praised the Fontaine Archon quest, didn't she? Fiorina had no agency in her story till the very end. Like the entire plot of Fontaine is that Fiorina was meant to uphold something for 500 years. She had no agency at all in any of her decisions. Neuvillette handled most things for her, and it was only until she was freed from her 500 years of acting as the Archon, which wasn't even caused by her own volition. It was only then that she was allowed to be her own person. That was the entire Archon quest. Like, if we're going to talk about characters that had no agency...
I promise you, that is not feminist. And it's not even like the moon goddess thing makes any sense. They even come up with some last-minute reason why she covers her eyes. There was a time when I refused to look upon the world. I believed it was full of nothing but lies and falsehoods. I wished to hide my feelings, seal my heart, until I could return to my true home. Oh my god. If this
is something I don't like about a lot of critiques in media, and funnily enough, Lily Orchard did it too. Just because something isn't explained instantly and explained later, that doesn't mean it was last minute. Like, how would you know if it was last minute or not? Did you talk with the developers or the writers about that? like you can't necessarily know if something's last minute or not. You weren't in the writing team with them. This is always a critique I've never really liked.
This is what they originally planned to do with her, which it wasn't, then she was a goddamn waste of a Harbinger slot. It is so clear to me that she was never their original.
Okay. This is irregardless. Oh, sorry, I can't say irregardless because people will get mad at me. This is regardless of her point. All the Harbingers have been wasted so far. All the Harbingers have kind of been frauds.
Waste of a Harbinger slot. It is so clear to me that she was never their original intention for the Moon Goddess. Her design suffers so bad as a result of Hoyo's ineptitude. I mean, look at these colors. They don't go together at all. Oh my god, she's so beautiful. No, she's not. Her design is two different designs smashed together. In fact, these colors only look okay together when they purposefully give the outfit more purple tones, which they could have just as easily done in the game model, but they didn't.
I don't really have anything to say about this. She just doesn't like... she just doesn't like her design. I don't really know what I can say in response to this. It's to emphasize something felt rushed and put it as an easy way to explain something. Columbina randomly talking about an eye covering. But, I mean, fair enough, but that didn't really sound like what she said to me. But whatever.
Even her constellation is a mishmash of her Fatui aesthetic and her goddess aesthetic. We have both the traditional portrait shape.
That's kind of the symbolism, though. Columbina was clashing with what her true identity was. And the entire beginning of the Nordcry AQ. Like, she lost her name because she didn't really have a defined identity. I feel like you can say it's clashed together and it doesn't look good to you, but that was kind of the point of her story.
That all the other gods in the game get, and also her symbol of the crying dove just shoved right in at the bottom. I completely believe.
The point was that she was being forced between these two identities, and she didn't really feel like she had a say in it.
The idea that Nodcry, or that this character at least, was rewritten at some point because there was no indication that they had any semblance of a plan for such a highly anticipated character. And the most frustrating part about all of this to me is that Hoyo actually leans into several of the things that people thought about Columbina, but only enough that it feels like they're teasing and laughing in the face of their fans, as if we read into it too much or something. In her burst, she grows wings like an angel, and these wings bear resemblance to a Seelie court, both echoing the theory that she is an angel. But she's not an angel. In her character trailer, she performs a ballet, which calls to mind, for me, the very popular fan design in which she was a ballerina.
I actually never saw this. I didn't know this was popular at all.
Something that the ribbons on her hands and feet might suggest. And it kills me because this trailer is beautiful. The visuals and the choreography are gorgeous. The symbolism of Dottore as the pianist who's controlling the dance by playing the music. Oh my...
Durin is an angel.
God, I love it. But it would be even better if she was a dancer or a ballerina of some kind, because she isn't. Even though that would have made a lot of sense thematically with her singing. Perhaps the strangest example of Hoyoverse leaning into the theories about Columbina is that they have the singer Aurora wearing a dress with eyes on it during the Welkin Moon concert, which suggests the biblically accurate angel thing. Maybe I'm reading too much into this.
I mean, the other points I don't think were strong. But, like, what about the eye thing, though? Isn't that kind of a fair point? That they maybe teased it a bit? But at the same time, is Aurora supposed to represent Columbina? It's just her personal dress? I mean, I don't think Hoyoverse would just... Is that sure? Like, really? Aurora. Eh. She's used this dress a million times. Oh, then never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay, no, it's not a fair point then, sure.
Just the biblically accurate angel thing. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. This last one, especially, but I cannot take it. It is so frustrating because they are so close. But no, Genshin is allergic to having playable characters who are morally gray or irredeemable.
Morally gray, no. They just released Lohan. But like straight irredeemable characters, I don't think we have any that are playable.
This leads to what I lovingly refer to as
No, that actually is no that this is a specific Hoyoverse thing. In other gacha games I've played, they let you just play as the villains. I think it is a mostly Hoyoverse thing that you can't really have just a bad person, like a really bad person that has no good qualities in gachas. I've played a lot of gacha games where you can be the villains. I do kind of agree with this critique if she's going to say that there's no evil characters in the playable cast. I don't necessarily know if it's a bad thing or not.
the Genshin villain problem. Other popular gacha
Okay, if she's going to rant about Genshin villains, I'm all for it, but this is not anything new.
games, like Cookie Run Kingdom, literally have morally reprehensible or canonically dead characters that are playable. What is stopping Genshin from making their villains stay villains, but also become playable? Columbina is just an embodiment of a bigger problem in Genshin. They do not want to have.
I think this is, if she's going to complain about the lack of villains as playable characters, I think that's a fair critique. I don't like how they have to redeem characters for them to be playable. I think that's fair, honestly.
Any characters who have questionable morals become playable.
Columbina shouldn't be the face of this, though. It should be a different character. Like, I think Wanderer would be a better example, actually. But no, I think that's
Most
fair.
of the time, this ends up going in two ways. The first is that the character is redeemed and then becomes friends with the Traveler before becoming playable.
They do redeem characters. They redeemed Wanderer.
This is what has happened to every playable Harbinger thus far. Tartaglia fights anything that moves, but he respects the Traveler even though they have different motives and values. He only ever wants a friendly spar with them. Scaramouche has no one else who understands his past and is connected with the Traveler in that way. Arlecchino is a ruthless woman who is grooming children to be a part of the Fatui.
Even someone like Sandrone. Sandrone is a horrible person. Like, Sandrone was responsible for the colonization of Nordkrai, and yet we're all just supposed to be fine with Sandrone and like act like she didn't really do anything that bad. Like, a lot of the things that Sandrone did, they were kind of just passed off onto Dottore, and then Dottore was the big bad villain we had to kill, and he can't be playable. But no, I think this is a fair critique. I kind of don't really like it. This is a fair point. I think this is a good point, actually.
But it
Like, there's so many characters that have done horrible things, but it's not necessarily explored fully. And they kind of just brush it away as like, oh, they did some bad things, whatever. Just be friends with everyone else.
turns out that the House of the Hearth is a lot less sinister under her rule. So that's okay too, I guess. And Columbina,
This battle was never about fate. It's about friends, family, and the home you
This is the
still
most
have.
obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life.
the second way it goes is that the
But no, I completely agree with her here. I'm sorry. I completely agree with her. Alice too, they're probably shaping up to make Alice playable. Alice has done so many horrible different things.
character cannot be redeemed and is therefore killed off so that they won't become playable.
Actually, no, they're not going to make Alice playable because she's a mother.
This is what happened to Signora way back in Inazuma, and most recently it happened to Dottore. This was honestly shocking to me, especially considering how much of a fan favorite Dottore is. Let me be clear, Dottore is
Yeah, that's keep wondering. People keep asking me, wait, what's the Saritsa's role going to be? Do you think Saritsa will be a DPS? Will she be a support? She's not going to be playable because she's a mother. We know this. We know this.
A horrible person, and he should not be redeemed. We should be able to understand his motives without forgiving him for what he has done. He has imposed so much pain on so many people in the game, and his morals are extremely corrupt, but he's still very, very interesting, and you can sometimes almost understand where he's coming from while still not condoning his methods, which I must stress is what makes a well-written villain. People love this guy's character. But now, he can never become playable because as of right now, he's dead. Little did you know, though, that there is a
They did not want a repeat of Signora with Dottoro's death. They made sure you guys knew that he was dead and he's like never coming back. They killed him twice, wiped him completely from the Irminsul. They did not want any speculation about that dude. They really did not anyone to think he was going to be playable. They super killed him.
third option, which is what they did to Capitano, a combo of options 1 and 2. They redeemed him and then still killed him off anyway. What a strange decision that was. Again, for a character that was extremely highly anticipated, they just threw in all this tragic backstory for him at the very end of the Natlan Archon quest, and then he fucking died right after that. So none of it
Wait, he's not dead. Wait, Capitano's not dead. Wait, Capitano isn't dead though.
It's like they don't understand their own visual.
Also, what was the redemption with Capitano? Necessarily. I don't think his story was about redemption. Like he did what he was always planning to do. He was always going. He was always planning on doing something similar to that.
Cues. A perfect example of this to me is Escoffier. Maybe, again, this might be just me.
What? She's not a villain.
But even she gave me creepy vibes in the silhouette teaser from the live stream where they revealed upcoming characters for 2025. She has this hair that sticks out.
She has an ahage though. Like, wait, she has an ahage though. Like an ahage is like a sign of a character being like it's bed hair. It's like a sign of character being like, oh my god. Ahage hair. Like yeah, it's stupid hair. Like I feel like even if you thought she was creepy or evil or whatnot, she has the ahage, the hair that sticks out at the top. We're just supposed to like represent that like a character is kind of dumbish and whatnot. Or at least they're not a bad person.
The shape of which largely resembles horns and conveys a sort of like...
Wait.
Sticks out. The shape of which largely resembles...
I don't know any horns that look like that.
Horns and conveys a sort of like wildness of her personality. She has a devil's pitchfork tail that's positioned up where we can clearly see it.
It's called a trident. Ahages aren't indicative of a character's personality. They kind of are though. But like, okay, even if you want to think that ahages aren't indicative of a character's personality, do you not think this point is a reach then?
And she's holding a sharp knife up. Like, she looked psycho to me. And I was intrigued. And at least that would have been interesting and different. But no, not only is this design ass, but it's also incredibly misleading. She's just kind of a tsundere who's very particular about her food.
They aren't. The point of this is stupid. But even if you want to say Escoffier had devil motifs, isn't she scary in the culinary world though? people are scared to be judged by her in a food sense. Like if she has a very Gordon Ramsay-esque personality, and Gordon Ramsay owns the Hell's Kitchen. So I feel like even if you were to argue that, Escofia's character is still kind of in line with it.
I don't understand why they're like this, guys. One of my favorite comments that I've seen about this that just perfectly embodies my feelings on the matter is this from the unofficial Genshin subreddit. They're allergic to morally gray, redeemable, or just bad characters because they don't know how to write anything that isn't a shitty isekai where the main character wins using the power of friendship and his harem. Oh, speaking of harem, it's an anime gacha game. You have to expect fan service. Okay, I know that. But Genshin used to be different from other games in its genre, and I mean that genuinely. There used to be a much better ratio of female to male
10-1.
5-star characters
Oh,
than many other
5 stars.
gacha games, because so many gacha games are targeted at male audiences who aren't perceived as being interested in the male characters. And there were sexy character outfits, especially on the women, lots of detached sleeves, short skirts, also known as the coochie flap, thigh-high socks, or boots. But they were nowhere near as bad as they are now. These women are nearly naked now. And not only does that make me mad and uncomfortable from a standpoint of being a woman who feels objectified just by looking at these designs, but also from a character design standpoint. I have quite a bit to say about the sharp drop-off in not only the quality of the Genshin character designs, but also in the tastefulness of them. To show you what I mean, we can talk about some early Genshin designs to compare them to more recent ones. I think it's important to discuss the physical elements of these characters first before we discuss the fan service elements of their presentation, writing, and personalities.
This is something more subjective. At least it's shaping up to be a point that's more subjective, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to interject much, unless I need to.
Because the physical appearance is the most obvious element, but I promise.
But despite what she's going to say, I do think the Genshin designs have gotten better, if anything.
We will get to the other stuff in due time. Also keep in mind that I'm only going to...
But like, you can't, if she says she herself is uncomfortable with characters being almost naked, I mean, like, you can't really you can't really argue with that. I don't know. Like, that's just what she feels like, and I feel like that's fair.
Be talking about female characters because most of the time the male characters are almost always covered from chin to toe now.
I do agree here though as well. They should slot with the men more. It should be equal. Like, have you guys seen Marvel Rivals? I respect Marvel Rivals so much because they equally they equally have fan service for both the men and women. I feel like it should be the same for Genshin. Like, give me half-naked men too. I agree. Let us have half-naked men too. I would be so down for us. Give us more bulge physics.
AKA, the fan service is not equal opportunity. One of the first characters I'll mention is Lisa, one of the very first anime fan servicey.
You can't be serious when you say the designs go better when Varessa. Okay, even if you were to say that the Genshin designs got worse, Varessa's just one character.
Characters that we're introduced to in the game. She teases the traveler, she calls them cutie, and she's averse to doing any sort of work. Her character design communicates so much about her though, nonetheless. Her hairstyle, which is very loose and almost looks like it's falling out on one side, shows us that lazy element of her personality. Her purple, black, and gold color palette obviously communicates her element of electro, but also a sense of...
It's kind of funny how we've gone for full circle because people used to complain that characters looked too much like their element.
of importance, luxuriousness, and magic. Her classically styled witch hat also conveys the latter, of course. Yae Miko is similar to Lisa in terms of teasing personality, although Miko can get a bit more cruel and self-indulgent with it. She has a sharper eye shape than Lisa's gentle round eyes to indicate this part of her personality. Her outfit is also a stylized version of a traditional Japanese shrine maiden outfit, giving her the required amount of gacha game sexiness while also showing her spiritual importance in Inazuma. Her design being more complicated than the other shrine maidens also signifies that her role is the most important of all of them. Her hair is the color of a sakura blossom, and she has cherry blossom motifs in her clothing, again emphasizing her Japanese inspiration, but also her connection to
I was gonna say a stylized is a very strong word to use there.
the sacred sakura of Inazuma, which is deeply connected with her element of electro. Xinyan is one of my favorite Liyue.
Is I think it's kind of interesting though because I'll just wait for it to finish.
Character
Actually,
designs because
I'm gonna wait
it
for it to
combines
finish.
traditional elements of Chinese clothing.
Wait. Xinyan is the goat. You're not dissing Xinyan here, okay?
Styles with Xinyan's
Xinyan Glaze is a positive because she's the goat. This was one of my original mains.
rock aesthetic, so you immediately know by looking at her what she represents. Xinyan wears lots of dark colors, spikes, and fishnet, features common in punk or alternative clothing styles. All of this is accented by red and orange, obviously representing her pyro vision, but also her passionate and fiery personality. Her hair even looks like it's glowing from the inside, which I always thought was such a cool detail. However, Xinyan also has some very subtle nods to her Liyuan culture. So while she mostly represents a counterculture in Liyue, she still maintains cohesion.
Where? Where's the hints to leeway in culture?
With the other character designs in her region. The last of the older character designs that I'm going to touch on is Navia's, probably my favorite Fontanian design personally. This design is basically a sluttier version of a traditional French aristocratic
Interesting choice of words.
gown, but it still covers most of her body. Navia's design exudes wealth. It is full of ruffles and jewels. She has these big, billowy curls. She's got this big hat decorated with feathers. She brings along a frilly parasol. She also maintains connection to her hometown of Poisson with these ship wheels on her hips, as well as
Being an ass unit is the leeway reference.
the canon theming of her elemental burst. Navia is also a very cheerful character, which her yellow color palette communicates.
It's just because she's Geo.
And she also has got these cute sparkles in her eyes that show that. As you can see, these designs are not only pretty tasteful in terms of gacha character designs, but they also do their job. They communicate information about the character, even if you knew nothing about them to begin with. This is what makes a good character design, and it is ironically what many character designs in modern Genshin fail to do. Not only that, but they also get more and more boring and more insulting as time goes on. So let's take a walk through them, shall we? This ought to be fun. One of my least favorite recent characters is Citlali. Again,
Wait, that, oh my god. That gave me, I was not expecting that at all. That gave me so much whiplash, actually. I was expecting Varessa. I was expecting Shalonin. I was expecting Movwika. Citlali? I was expecting Chaska. Like, not because I think their designs are bad, but like that's usually the thing people point to. Wait, okay, sure.
I know, a fan favorite, but I'm sorry, I do not like her. Her design certainly isn't the most offensive of the Notlan ones. I just find her annoying. I do think her English VA is very good at their job and that they do a great job with Citlali's voice, but I really just don't like the character's writing. We will talk about
What does that have to do with your design?
that in a bit. One of the things I dislike about her design, though, is
Okay,
this
thank you.
goddamn leotard that she's wearing. This girl is literally wearing a thong. This sweater thing would go
It's not a thong. What do
right
you
up her butt
mean?
crack. I cannot stand
What?
stuff like this. Also, side note,
It's just a bodysuit.
real quick, I have to pause to talk about the state of Genshin character
Is that
trailer.
it?
Can we talk about how these videos used to be actual showcases of the characters' combat abilities with like little elements of story sprinkled in? Ones that strike this balance well, in my opinion, are
What? That's it? Okay.
Nahida's trailer, Farina's trailer.
Oh, she's gonna complain about the trailers. I do agree too. Like, they went from demos to trailers, which I didn't like. I feel like a majority of the more recent trailers haven't been that great.
And Arlecchino's trailer. But now character trailers are either one, headache-inducing fan edits with these wildly inappropriate
These wouldn't be the ones I would show, though.
aesthetic choices like Nefer's trailer or Sea Lolly's, or two, music videos that make me feel like I'm going to implode from cringing, like Shilonen or Mawika's trailer. At most, these ones show the elemental burst animation. It doesn't tell you anything about what it's like to actually play the character in the video game that I'm supposed to be pulling for them in. Tell me how that's...
It's okay. This is interesting, though. Like, this is actually a pretty interesting topic, because like trailers aren't really used, like they aren't demos anymore. Like they look like, of course they visually look better, but I like Genshin removed the what were they called again? There was like they used to make videos explaining the character kits. I forgot what they were called. Those were nice videos. And then, like, in the trailers, like, you don't really get to see what the character does, really. But at the same time, characters have, like, 4 actions at most in this game. Yeah, collected miscellany. They do that in streams, but that's a lot harder to find. Did anyone care? No one watched this? I mean, I did. I cared about it. It's such an interesting thing, though, because I like both styles, and I don't know. You're just old? Like, yeah, hold on. Okay, I don't want to bring up and show the demos, but a lot of the character trailers, instead of just being like showcases for their characters, they've kind of just become full-on stories. Like, full-on small stories about the characters. And then random elemental burst. It kind of feels less cohesive. I don't know. I kind of agree with her point here. I think between the two styles, like, even though I think they should make the demos, then they make these type of trailers, and then on top of that they should make the collected miscellany. I would like to have all three, and not just character trailer and the rest isn't really elaborated on. I wish they just made more stuff. I kind of agree with her here. Saber, why do you want me to check DMs? I'll watch this afterwards.
supposed to give me a good impression of these characters. Anyway, back to Sea Lolly's outfit. It's the same thing with Mawika. Her design features a zipper that goes all the way around between her legs up to her back.
I mean, okay. Does anyone disagree with this? This is kind of weird. This is kind of weird.
That can't be comfortable, right? Especially riding a motorcycle. And also, what exactly does this design communicate about Mawika other than being a biker? Yeah, I guess she's got.
Well, like, she's a biker. What are the things associated with being a biker? Being cool and confident, no? Like, you explained that she has a biker outfit. There are things associated with being... There are typical things associated with being a biker. Like, it isn't just a biker suit. There's other tropes about it.
Got sun imagery to represent her Archon hood, but
What do you mean she has some imagery? That's the same with all the other Archons too, though. Like, Zhongli's just in a suit. With very minor Chinese or Liweian references.
to me, her hair is the only thing about her design that gives me Pyro Archon. But then, you know, all of that still goes away when she fights and her hair lights up. And then we
Why is her hair glowing a complaint? It turns into a massive fire.
have Veresa. I was really excited about this design when I saw the silhouette in that same teaser we were talking about earlier. Oh my gosh, a girl that's a cow. Oh my god, that's gonna be so cute. I love these braids and the big horns. I mean, I wonder what kind of color palette she'll have. Maybe like browns and greens, something earthy because she's a farm animal.
I want to defend Veresa's design so much. But I don't think anyone is going to agree with my defense.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I guess that works too. Just kidding. I hate this design. One of my least favorites in the entire game. I just like, what was the point, dude? Why is she so like kawaii themed? She's got hearts and bows.
How dare she be cute?
Everywhere. She wears leg warmers and a cardigan. The skirt is pointless because it's too short.
She works on an orchard. She's a farmer. And she's into comic books.
To cover her ass. You expect me to believe that this is a lucha libre fighter? I know that luchadoras often dress in similar silhouettes to Veresa's outfit, but they didn't incorporate any elements of the culture that Veresa is inspired by, or the one that her name comes from. There are plenty of lucha libre fighters who incorporate elements of their culture into their costumes. They could have gotten really creative with it. But it's not like it even matters because we never even get to see her fight like a luchadora in the game.
What?
It's all
her attitude.
just the food bullshit and falling on her ass all the time. It's especially frustrating because the animators.
This is literally a move. Have you seen her attacks in fighting spirit form?
Really creative with the normal attack animations lately.
She did a drop kick. Her ultimate is her jumping to. Her ultimate has a wrestling ring. Attacks you. Who cares if they're attacks you don't use? They're still attacks. The butt slam is a move.
They could have gone crazy with her and made her.
Wait, I realize that these. I realize that these are Lucha Libre moves, but I'm talking more about quest appearances here. But what?
With the normal attack animations lately, they could have gone crazy with her and made her do insane moves. Something like this. Like I said earlier, with her and made her do insane moves. Something like this.
But all the other moves she does doesn't matter?
Like I said earlier, I was interested too in Escoffier's design based on the silhouette, but I was also very disappointed with this reveal. Not only does this outfit make no sense with regards to breaking up any colors or with this weird heart theming that she has, similar to Veresa. Again, I don't know why they keep.
Why does she have heart theming, actually? That is kind of odd. I'm also someone who's not really the biggest on Escoffier's design.
doing this, but her outfit is literally just the sexy
Escofia's design is kind of just mad to me. I don't really
chef
care for it.
Halloween costume. She's wearing an apron with nothing underneath it. Not only is that insulting, but it's boring and it's lazy. You guys literally couldn't bother to design a shirt for her to wear under this apron. They would just rather put more effort into the detailing on her fucking stockings than design her a shirt. Skirk makes me mad in a similar way because they literally took an already very revealing outfit and made her more naked.
Is she more naked? Didn't they make her tights longer too? I don't see a difference actually.
When she made the transition from NPC to playable character. Lauma is one of the ones that makes me the saddest because I actually really love the way that she's written in the narrative. Her voice acting is so beautiful and gentle, and I find her quiet strength to be really, really compelling. It just sucks because she would be perfect if she wasn't almost naked. For Lauma, I don't feel hatred like I do for Veresa because Lauma has good writing to make up for her design.
Okay.
Just feel bad for her. Like, oh my god, you poor woman. You're probably so cold and uncomfortable all the time. Actually, she's named after a creature from Baltic folklore that's traditionally depicted as a nude woman. That is literally just another excuse to make a woman with large breasts walk around with a single piece of cloth covering her ass. You can't convince me that
I mean,
large breasts walk around with a single piece of cloth covering her ass. You can't convince me that Lauma isn't meant to be sexualized by the game when she makes this face while bound by Rayrir.
what other face is she supposed to make? Wait, what? Wait, I was gonna go back to her earlier point. What else was she? Is she supposed to be smiling? Wait, I want to go back though.
Feel bad for her. Like, oh my god, you poor woman. You're probably so cold and uncomfortable all the time. Actually, she's named after a creature from Baltic folklore that's traditionally depicted as a nude woman. That is literally just another excuse to make a woman with large breasts walk around.
I mean, she's not wrong, actually. Is she? I don't think she's necessarily wrong here. Like, yeah, like how do I explain this? So Llama, they specifically chose Llama and based her off of a character that's depicted as nude, so they can add a woman half naked or real close to naked in the game. Like, she's not wrong there, is she? Like that's the truth. Like you say, like, people are using Llama's like what she's based off of to say she's supposed to look like this. But yeah, that's they chose her intentionally so that she could look like it. No, like, they're not wrong there. Yeah, it's fan service with culture as a shield. Yeah, like that was kind of their intention with her. And I kind of forgot what the complaint is though. Is it just that she doesn't like her design because she's almost naked? That's kind of just her interpretation or whatever. I can't really disagree with that. She doesn't like Llama's design because she's naked, and yeah. Well, no, she's not naked, but you get what I mean. I like that's just her opinion, to be fair.
Depicted as a nude woman. That is literally just another excuse to make a woman with large breasts walk around with a single piece by the game when she makes this face while bound by Rayrir.
This is that is extremely funny though. What do you mean? Aether looks like he's taking up the ass,
Be
dude.
sexualized by the game when she makes this face while
Like, what do you want her to do?
bound by Rayrear. Finally, we have Nefer. Now, I don't really hate this design necessarily. I actually really like the top of it. Her hairstyle is really cool. I love the cape and the vibrant gold and green colors. But it's just another design in this long pattern of just giving up on the legs of these female character designs. Not only does this white skirt completely blend into her insanely pale skin, but they also make no effort to give her some socks or stockings to balance out these colors or make the design more interesting. Like, I really love this fan design that not only gives her a
What the fuck?
darker skirt, but also some snake pattern.
Oh, okay, it's snake themed. That's kind of cool, actually.
High socks. I really wish that they had leaned into her snake theming more, as a side note. But alas,
She has fangs.
Same, a super detailed design from the waist up and absolutely nothing except maybe a thigh garter on the legs. Again, Columbina falls into this too. She wears this super detailed tiny dress, one that's so short it makes her legs look obscenely long like a spider. And then she doesn't even wear shoes, just these fuck-ass water orb heels because they couldn't bear to let a woman walk flat on her feet.
What? She's Columbina's the exception.
And the way that these women are drawn sometimes is so stupid too. Even the character designs that I consider to be better than these suffer from the fan service. Even though I wish her skirt was longer to add some variety to the designs, I really like Mizuki's design, but she literally shows her butt to the camera during her burst and in her official art. In fact,
that's kind of funny.
Hoyo only draws these characters in impossible poses more and more for the sake of making them more goonable. Literally, Mizuki is posed so you can somehow see her underboob and butt at the same time. They do the same thing with Mawika. Her back is arched so heavily just so that they can display both her cleavage and her ass. Veresa's also the same, plus she's making that face like, oh, you caught me, and I have food.
I was kind of agreeing with the rest. It's kind of funny the lengths they go through. Like even like in a lot of, if you look at the way men and the different ways men and like women are portrayed on covers, usually women they have like the most insane angles possible, so you can show all the women's curves and stuff. But then the men, they don't really get the same thing, and it is kind of like very impressive the lengths they go through to show off a women's assets. But what's wrong with Veresa being cute? What's wrong with Veresa being cute, dude?
Food all over my face. Oh no! Oh my god. I hated saying that out loud. And see, Lali is literally squishing her chest so heavily with what? A stuffed animal? A pillow? That is not how this
one is kind of a who cares moment.
part of the body works. This is only one of the anime fan service tropes that Genshin has increasingly leaned into over time. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type. Oh my god. It's over, guys. We only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type. Oh my god, I can't fucking say this. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type, which I personally find annoying. Lali and Sandrone are the biggest examples of this, but I would also argue that Escoffier falls into this trope sometimes. Characters that fit the tsundere character type, which I personally find annoying. Lali and Sandrone
Is Solali even a tsundere?
are the biggest examples of this, but I would also argue that Escoffier falls into this trope sometimes. Somewhat related is the increasing number of characters who have very obvious crushes or similar devotion.
Yes. Solali is really? I don't know. Like, Solali, for me at least, doesn't fit my stereotype of what a tsundere is.
To the Traveler. All of whom seem to be women, ironically. Ayako.
You guys don't think Solali's a tsundere, really? Because usually to me, like being a tsundere is when you also just like beat up your love interest. I don't know. I feel like Silali very obviously likes us. I have not done the newest quest yet, no.
Was a big one early on, but since then we've heard all of whom seem to be women, ironically. Ayaka was a big one early on, but since then we've had Mizuki blushing around the Traveler and the game purposefully putting her into situations in which we're meant to like cutely embarrass her. It's clearly meant to have a teasing romantic tone to it. Similarly, Citlali has a big crush on the Traveler, made evident by being portrayed like this in her Valentine's Day art, and by all the times the game has given us very convenient plot-related ways to read each other's thoughts. Dude, this shit is painful to play. And then most recently we've had Columbina, who, again, has only one true friend in the Traveler, and she cutely hides behind
That's not true!
you, and you get to feed her. Again, these are all very romance-coded behavior.
But this isn't woman specific though, is it? I mean, I agree there are some servicey moments with the female characters, but I don't think it's woman specific though. Like, it happens with the men too. Like, Varka and Flint's flirt with us, Zhao flirted with us. Tartaglia did too. Like, we are basically the only ones that know Wanderer's true past. Well, no, you know what I mean. We're one of the few characters that knows everything about Wanderer, and he can confide in us with it. There is Linny too, yeah. Like, I feel like the same extent happens with both. It's just that there's more women in general. Well, to be fair, like, that's a choice. Like, they're choosing to have more women than men. The touring wanted us badly. No, he wanted Pantalone. But, I mean, fair enough with her point.
The Traveler is literally represented as her savior and dance partner in her trailer. It is a pattern at this point. Can we please let women have more interesting relationships with the main character than being their shy waifu all the time?
I mean, what about the dynamic with the dynamic the Traveler has with Nicole and Alice and Nefer? Llama too. What are the relationships they have with them? Skirk too, yeah, you're right. Like, there's so many female characters that also don't necessarily have an overt crush on the Traveler.
And again, this fan service is never equal opportunity. The male characters never get to have interactions or relationships like this with the...
I'm pretty sure Candy Book's point is that the female character's defining trait is their fan service with the MC rather than a personality with fan servicey moments. But whose character do you think is explicitly defined by their relationship with the Traveler? I don't think any of the female characters are really like that. Citlali kind of... Okay, actually, Citlali fair enough. I'll give you Citlali.
player.
Citlali's way more defined by her relationship with Aurora than the Traveler. I actually disagree with that, actually. I think her relationship with the Traveler it's been more shown in her interactions than with Auroron. I did do Citlali's quest!
Why not? We also have character-specific tropes. Veresa, I'm getting to you now. She was tailor-made for the feeder fetish. I kid you not, in one of her trailers, they animate food going into her stomach, and her stomach, like...
I never understood why this was so big.
jiggles and stuff, and oh my god.
Vanessa isn't even fat.
It is genuinely one of the most sickening and uncomfortable things I have seen coming out of this company. Her entire thing is eating comically large amounts of food. She has nothing else that matters to her character, to her personality, or anything about her.
Ah! Me if I didn't play Vanessa's Tribal Chronicle quest.
It's not like this would necessarily...
Or do the recent winter event we had. That's just such a lie.
...really be bad on its own, but guys, she is literally a cow.
She isn't even a cow. I forgot. I watched a video on it, but I think Vanessa is not based off of a cow. It's a different animal.
This character is extremely insulting, and I hate her. And that's not even mentioning how she literally fights by falling on her ass.
It was a specific bull. I forgot. I watched a good video on it. I need to remember the video. But she's not a cow. She isn't even a cow. Like, her being a cow is a headcanon.
Playing her, she will fall and her ass will be facing the camera for multiple seconds before she gets up. And your eye is naturally drawn there because of her bright pink tail against her black skirt. And then when she gets up...
Where else is the tail supposed to be?
She'll like dust herself off and be like, "Owie, that hurt! Shut up!" Ugh. And then we've got Nefer and her whole like clones thing, and the clones are like her servants, and she poses with them in sexually charged ways, like she's holding this one's face and this one is laying in her lap. Like,
Nefer's trope is being a femme fatale, isn't it though?
I don't have to like spell out the way that this is incredibly fetishistic, right? I mean,
fetishistic in what way though? What fetish? Okay.
Nefer literally does the stripper crawl across the table.
What? Wait. How was this your first thought when watching this? What is this stripper?
Right? I mean, Nefer literally does the stripper crawl across the table toward the camera in her trailer. She's meant to give femdom. And I mean, like, the clones basically serve no purpose to her theming as a character. I think they could have taken them out of her whole thing and it wouldn't have made a difference to her kit or to her gimmicks. They literally only did it because they knew people would drool over it. Editing Aurelia here. In the...
You can't just explain the point of her clones and the way she treats her clones and how that portrays into her character of being a femme fatale, and then say, well, there's no point to the clones at all.
Process of making this video, Linnea has been released, and I just have to
what's wrong with Linnea?
Interject to say, what the fuck were they thinking with this character? I feel like a crazy person because I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't think she's adorable and in fact recognizes her for the creepy freak that she is. First of all, she clearly
what the fuck?
Has absolutely no respect for living things that are not traditionally human. She keeps asking to touch and pet the Melusines as if they are not whole people. It's especially creepy because
but she's asking.
The Melusines are made to look...
Isn't her asking a sign that she respects them, their autonomy as people?
Look like children. Having an adult character who is high-key obsessed with them and can't treat them as the people they are was a fucked up move on Hoyo's part. They literally make a point to
Is she saying she's a pedophile?
emphasize the humanity of the Melusines and how they had to fight to be accepted in Fontanian society, and now we have a playable character who we are supposed to think is cute, harassing them and treating them as though they are pets. It's disgusting. Her trailer is sickening for the same reason. She fantasizes about being rubbed up on by Siegeween, who, again, looks like a child, and Kirita, along with other Melusines and
Wait, she actually calling her a pedophile? wait. Wait! Wait, she's actually calling her a pedophile. What?
It reads as extremely fetishistic to me, which is a problem when the people that she's fantasizing about look like children.
What? Wait. How is that your interpretation? Wait, that's insane. She just thinks that the non-human she just thinks they're cute. It's not in a sexual way though. She just thinks they're cute. When people want to like pet cats or dogs, is that because they're zoophiles? Wait, that's what? When I want to squish my baby brother's cheeks, like that's weird and fetishistic. Wait, what? She's 100% wrong here, but taken out of context, a character having a hyper obsession with touching an endangered species of children is literally crazy. But it's not like she's doing it. It's not like she's doing it against their consent or not, though. She just thinks they're really cute. It's not.
Children. She chases these people around and doesn't seem to let up after being told multiple times to back off. There are multiple promotional materials in which she asks to touch a Melusine, which makes me think that it's happened more than—
Okay, I know Melusines aren't children, but they do, like... Can we not pretend that Siegeween or the Melusines don't kind of look like that?
once or twice. I mean, at least her character quest wasn't as bad. I won't spoil it, obviously, because I said I wouldn't talk about content past Luna 5, but I still don't find this character appealing or compelling at all, as I feel like I've made it very clear. She doesn't even have an interesting design to make up for.
That was crazy.
It. She's literally just a copy-paste of Charlotte. Even the wish art is the same. I haven't felt such a burning hatred for a character in a long time. Hoyoverse had the opportunity to portray Linnea as a character with a disability that made it difficult for her to fit in, because that was largely the reason the myth of changelings arose in the first place. The fairies were thought to swap their fae children for a human child, which was how several mythologies explained neurodivergence in children. Instead of portraying a really heartwarming story about a character who's autism-coded, we instead get a freak who can't stop harassing anyone with non-human features. Ironic, considering
Where does she harass anyone? Good lord.
considering how they want to portray her as an outcast who had no friends because she was a fae who looked different. Also, can we talk about how her lore makes no sense because the Saritsa and the Fatui are meant to be hunting down fae and eradicating them, hence why Flynn's hides his identity. But it's just completely fine that Linnea is outwardly a fae, perhaps even more obviously so than Flynn's because she doesn't cover the wings on her head or her crystal markings. Whatever. I really hope people open their eyes to how terrible this character is. Sorry if you feel kinship with her. She is not cute. She is not funny. She has no appealing character traits.
Jesus Christ.
And there are far better characters out there whose stories are about yearning for acceptance. Anyway, back to the video. Before we move on to the last part, I feel the need to debunk something I've heard both in this fandom and in other fandoms with regards to sexualized character designs. She should be able to wear whatever she wants. It's feminist to let women express themselves how they want. Listen, I choose to believe that this argument isn't made in bad faith. It's more like people who say this have good intentions, but they don't understand what it is that they're actually saying. Yes, it's true that women in real life.
So I mentally checked out. Hold on, I don't know what point she's making. So I checked out mentally. Sorry, let me pay attention.
I feel the need to debunk something I've heard both in this fandom and in other fandoms with regards to sexualized character designs. She should be able to wear whatever she wants. It's feminist to let women express themselves how they want. Listen, I choose to believe that this argument isn't made in bad faith. It's more like people who say this have good intentions, but they don't understand what it is that they're actually saying. Yes, it's true that women in real life should be able to choose what they wear. If they want to wear revealing clothing, that is completely their choice. However, these women are not real and do not have the
Why are you guys critiquing the gameplay?
autonomy that we do.
Focus on the video.
They are purposefully manufactured to be bait for the male gaze. They are animated in revealing outfits and drawn in uncomfortable poses and written into compromising situations on purpose. These developers have control over how these women are portrayed, and they choose to
I mean, she's right.
portray them increasingly as vessels for hypersexualization, fetishization, and fan service. That is not feminist. That's not to say that HoYoverse doesn't do this in their other games. Zenless Zone Zero comes to mind, but to me, at least, that game is honest about what it is, and it has been since the beginning. Boob physics and maid outfits and schoolgirl uniforms.
Does she think Genshin wasn't honest from the start with this?
All. At least over there, the fan service is a little more equally
Like,
spread
Genshin's always been fan servicey.
across the male and female characters. Genshin Impact still pretends that it's this grand world of exploration it was 4 years ago, while its writing and characters suffer. Expect visual
What?
it was 4 years ago, while its writing and characters suffer. Expect visual upgrades like you've never seen before, all while we refuse to visually.
But you're showing the visual upgrades, though. You're showing how Genshin's been better presented. They haven't updated the older models, yeah. But they weren't lying there, were they?
Upgrade older characters because who gives a shit about them, right? Or as we increase the shill for pay-to-win players, or for because who gives a shit about them, right? Or as we increase the shill for pay-to-win.
This isn't necessarily a good argument, though, here. You don't need full 5 stars for Raiden's team, so for Skirk's team. Why is Elon? Oh, well, I guess Elon is part of the top team. Whatever.
Players, or for Millie Astro Wonderland, which no one fucking asked
Like, you could easily have put a 4-star there.
for, and no one cares about, and for hyper-specific gameplay mechanics that are incredibly
Okay, no, I do agree here, kind of, actually. Team building in Genshin has gotten a lot worse.
and rely on 2 or 3 limited characters to actually function, all while we continually offer
Wait.
less and visually upgrade older characters because who gives a shit about them, right? Or as we increase the shill for pay-to-win players, or for Millie Astro Wonderland, which no one fucking asked for, and
shitting on Millie Astra is really fun, but it is very popular. And I am still excited to see what they do with it later. But no, I've had a lot of fun in Millie Astra. Like, I've had fun playing it with friends. Somehow.
No one cares.
It feels very random to include it, though. Like they didn't. You did a critique. You can't. How was this a critique of Genshin? Millie Astra just being a thing isn't a critique of Genshin.
About, and for hyper-specific gameplay mechanics that are incredibly team-limiting and rely on 2 or 3 limited characters to actually function.
Like, Millie Astra is super popular, especially in CN.
All while we continually offer less and less new map areas and free wishes each patch.
People who complain about Millie Astra are like people who complain about TCG updates every patch. Like, yeah, if these things were unpopular, the game wouldn't have continued with them.
Could go on forever.
Like, just because I don't like things like TCG or Teapot or fishing, it doesn't mean they should just be completely removed from the game. There's a lot of things I don't like about Genshin, but I'm not going to say they should be removed or they're irrelevant and useless.
About the state of this fucking game and how Hoyoverse doesn't. I think that's enough of that for now. Let's move on. After all this complaining, people are probably thinking, it sounds like this game is causing you lots of undue stress. Maybe you should just quit and play something else. Look, maybe you don't get what it feels like to invest 5 years of your life into a game like this.
Like, pretty much every time I've been unhappy with Genshin, I've quit.
Ever-expanding lore and new characters being introduced all the time. I guess maybe I didn't know what I was getting myself into at the time, back in 1.0 when I first started out. It sucks to invest so much of your time into a game.
Okay, no, wait. I'm not going to critique her for still playing Genshin while she doesn't enjoy it. Like, it's up to her. Obviously. But, okay. Let's see what she says.
Only for it to let you down. I'm not going to pretend that Genshin was perfect back then. There are so many weird, like, cop-outs that Hoyo pulls so that they can have sensitive themes in their games but not actually have them. Like Bennett saying that he has multiple dads, only for you to realize that it's because he's been raised by many older men in the Adventurers Guild, not because he has queer parents. But
what?
Cop-outs that Hoyo pulls so that they can have sensitive themes in their games but not actually have them. Like Bennett saying that he has multiple dads, only for you to realize that it's because he's been...
They're still his dad. I don't even think that's necessarily bait.
And raised by many older men.
Like, Hoyoverse queer baits a ton, but I don't know.
In the Adventurers Guild, not because he has queer parents. But the problems have only gotten worse with time. There are even more cop-outs, like Flynn's being a victim of suicidal ideation, but, like, he actually just went sleepy for a really long time. Or like Nicole, who is mute in name only. She just talks in people's heads using her magic, so Hoyo can pretend that they have a character with a disability.
Okay, wait, that's kind of funny. Wait. That's kind of funny. It like wait. But I don't think they were trying to say Nicole has a disability either, though, because you would know she could speak by her first introduction. You've always known that, though. I don't think they were setting up like okay. It would be one. Okay, in comic book, I'm someone who's very interested in comics. There are certain times where they will pretend like a character has a disability, but then it just doesn't really exist. Like with Daredevil, if you keep up with Daredevil at all, like Daredevil's supposed to be blind, but not really. he can actually just see everything, so it's not like he has a real disability. But Daredevil can just see. I do get what she means, though. Like, a lot of the times, characters, like, they write characters as a way that they have this disability or this issue, but then they write ways to circumvent that issue completely to the point that the disability they give the character is minuscule. But I don't think this works in Nicole's case.
Or like Nefer, experiencing racism at the hands of the academia while having the palest skin you could possibly imagine.
Okay, this
Regarding
I agree with too,
gameplay,
actually.
as I said, the shill for current characters has only gotten worse with time, with boss enemies
Yes,
made
sure.
specifically to be defeated by certain limited characters. Fontaine was the first region to introduce region-specific battle mechanics, Bond of Life, and Pneumosia, but it wasn't so completely baked into the combat like Night Soul or Lunar Reactions are. You didn't need Bond of Life or Pneumosia to be anything in the game, but the Lord of Eroded Primal Fire weekly boss requires a character who can apply Night Soul damage. The game before the gate is built for quick application of the Frozen reaction, which is the specialty of Skirk and Escoffier. It's unfair to people who aren't looking to pull every single character, like me, because I only pull characters I like, or free-to-play people who aren't looking to spend what could easily be hundreds of dollars on filling out their 5-star roster, also like me, because I don't have that kind of disposable income.
I think it's really interesting that she's mentioning weekly bosses, because, like, it's not even a perspective I've even thought of.
Seeing Flynn
Usually when people talk about Shill, they're referring to, like, the Abyss and Stygian specifically. But weekly bosses, like freezes and lurks behind a character. The game gives you the Pyro MC for free to beat Gorlord, whatever, the dragon. Like, if she was making this point about Stygian and Abyss, I would actually kind of understand it, but it's about weekly bosses. I don't hold them to the same standard. And yeah, as I said before, they're co-opable.
in that Nod Cry teaser was a lifesaver for me. Holy shit, a beautiful 5-star man roster. Also like me, because I don't have that kind of disposable income. Seeing Flynn's in that Nod Cry teaser was a lifesaver for me. Holy shit, a beautiful 5-star man with a mysterious backstory who's actually part of the meta. And oh my god, Lowen too. That face card is diabolical. It's been so long since I've been excited about characters like this. Most of the time,
Wait, where is it? Can I find it? Okay, I don't know. I was gonna say, I find it really ironic that she was complaining about only the female designs earlier, when like 90% of the Genshin men look the same. They're just men in full suits and boots. Like that's 90% of Genshin characters. Like, if you find the female characters redundant, shouldn't you also feel the same about the men, kind of? Like, there was one image. Oh my fucking god. I can't find the image. I'm so sad. But like, a lot of men in Genshin look quite similar too, at least with the lower halves of their designs. Huh.
now I'm just like, well, Nicole's not my favorite, but I guess I'll pull for her in the future if I have no other characters I want. Or
Also, since it's a critique, I'm not necessarily expecting like she just brought up Nicole. I'm pretty sure she thinks Nicole's design is fine, but she never mentioned that in the video. Like, it's a critique, so I wasn't really expecting her to like bring anything up that's positive. I just like, I wish I knew what she liked more about the older characters beyond like the surface level things she said.
well, Llama's design is pretty terrible, but I like her
Well, she did also say other nice things about like Navia and stuff. I wonder if there's anything new any new designs in the game that she likes.
Personality a lot. I guess I could get her if I have enough extra primo gems. So yeah, that's a lot.
She talked about the newer designs that she disliked, and she talked about the older designs that she liked. I wish she mentioned if she liked any newer designs
Of flaws.
that were women.
But guess what, guys? Hoyoverse fucking got me. Almost 6 years ago now, Hoyoverse wormed its way into my brain and put my mind in a Genshin Impact-shaped chokehold. At this point, I have so many mixed emotions about this game and its fan base. I love the beautiful fan art I see every day. I love the sense of humor that so many of these fans have. I love some of these characters so much, and thinking about them is so much fun, but sometimes I feel like the only sane person in any given comment section on the internet. Like, I'm the only
Now, if you go to Genshin Talk, I think most people would agree with you there.
person who sees this game for what it has become. People just refuse to be critical of this game despite enjoying it and knowing what it could be. It's a fandom and a community that I sometimes feel like I don't belong to. Like I should have left it a long time ago, and yet I can't stop playing it. Maybe it's an addiction, or maybe it's FOMO thinking about the upcoming characters I want to.
I do get her though. No. I do to an extent get her. I have a lot of criticisms about Genshin myself. Yeah, I still play the game. Like I don't think it's hypocritical to have criticisms about a game and still play it. But some of the things she said in this video was kind of crazy.
Get in the future. Maybe I find the gameplay engaging, but ultimately I think
When she talked about the Saritsa, she wasn't even like, "Oh, I'm excited for the Saritsa." It was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see how they ruin the Saritsa."
for me it comes
Like, it doesn't sound like she's excited at all.
down to wanting to see where this story ends up, even though it continues to disappoint me the more the time goes on. I think Genshin set up a very
But anyways, I'm not gonna like, if she wants to continue playing the game, that's up to her.
strong emotional core with the missing sibling, and they strung us along just enough that I was invested, giving us hints of the sibling only a little at a time, all culminating in a quest called Bedtime Story a couple years ago, which is one of the only Genshin quests that's ever made me cry. I want to see the traveler reunited with their twin at the end of this journey. I want to explore Snezhna
They already reunited with their twin. That's already happened.
and Conria. Even though Alice's design ended up being a little copy-paste, I adore her and I want to pull her and put her in a team with Klee and Durin. I want to see Dainsleif become playable and hopefully introduce a new element into the gameplay. Who knows?
The Is there even gonna be new elements? Isn't- they aren't gonna make any more elements, are? Isn't Dainsleif Pyro? Didn't they explain that like Skirk isn't using cryo, but I forgot they did such a funny explanation for it. I think was it Abyss or void manipulation of cryo? That's why she doesn't use the elements. I think they're gonna do the same with Dainsleif. Like Dainsleif is pyro, but he's manipulating it with the Abyss, so it's not actual pyro. Like, we've seen what Dainsleif's attacks look like.
Maybe Genshin will continue to disappoint me. Maybe there are no good villains left to meet, and maybe a playable woman in a freezing cold climate will be wearing a bikini. I'm still gonna be pissed about
Isn't this? Isn't it kind of crazy to use a real woman for this though?
that. But it's quests like Durin's story quest, a beautiful tale of the devotion of motherhood and learning to make your own way in life, that give me very cautious optimism. I know that Hoyo is capable of amazing
It is funny, but like
storytelling. That's what makes it so frustrating every time this game lets me down. But Hoyo, you've still got me for a while. Nice going, you made me addicted to your game, but the good stuff is what makes me want to stick around for a while. Even if it's only to watch my favorite little guys run around in my screen.
It's a stalker image. It's still a real woman, though. Like, she's an artist. Couldn't she just have drawn something? I feel like that would have been funnier. Well, I I don't think the video was all bad. Actually, I was expecting to dislike this video more, honestly. It wasn't all bad. There are some things I did agree with here. I just think the craziest things she said were really crazy. Like, if this video didn't well, obviously, but like if this video didn't blow up, I feel like people wouldn't care as much. I don't know. But I feel like some of her points are valid. Her evidence is just like genuinely awful. A lot of Candy Bug's points weren't terrible. Her thought process to get there was also meme-worthy moments. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a lot of the points she was making, I can understand where she's coming from. It's just that the evidence she used for the points, or how is she trying to justify it, or the end point she got from certain things made absolutely no sense. To like a comic degree. Yeah, if you remove the Linnea part, it isn't the worst thing ever. Really. Like, I feel like she had a lot of valid points that I agree with. It is kind of like, as a YouTuber, it is kind of sad that like I'll make an entire video, but if I make one mistake in the video, that's everything, that's all the comments will talk about, that's all everyone remembers. But in hindsight, it's just a not very well researched video. Like, she's allowed to criticize the game, obviously. It's just that some of the weirdest things she said just happened to be very, very weird. So I don't know. I'm not that mad at this. Like, it wasn't. Hmm. It's not like she was really lying about anything necessarily. Don't tell me I'm muted, Shush. I don't know. Like, another thing, yeah, besides the Linnea thing. Besides the Linnea thing, like, I've heard all of these before. I've heard all of these takes before. I don't know. But God. Some of you guys were too mean in chat over this. Not mean enough. That was certainly a video. Thank you guys for watching that with me. Thank you so much, Ita. Have you cleared Dire yet? Die. Wait, watch what? I'm good for today. How long have I been? It's 3 hours. Yeah, never mind. I'm not making this a video. I am really okay. Wait, I am really curious to see if she ever follows up at all on this. Uh, no, we should still get a skip button. Well, I see lots of comments disagreeing with her, but yeah. Oh my god. Thank you guys for watching that with me. I think I'm gonna dip out now. Jesus Christ. I love you guys too. All right, bye guys. Thank you so much for watching this with me. I love you all. Version 3 of the beta is here tomorrow. So version 3 of the beta is here tomorrow. We'll see how much I get tortured then. And if they fix everything regarding the new sets. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I love you all. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.